Well, my precious, it has been a while since we've heard anything about Lord of the Rings, The Hunt for Gollum, until now, because Andy Serkis, while promoting Animal Farm, has come out and given a big update regarding the state of the movie, when they expect the film, and there's a release date for this. I think the release date was already out there, but just to confirm anyway that there is now a release date, and of course he is returning to the role of Gollum. And a little known fact about Andy Serkis and Gollum is, believe it or not, but some of his iconic Gollum voice and even some of his physical movements, get this, were inspired by his own cat coughing up furballs. Yeah, the way the cat involuntarily and gutturally sounds and the movements it made while the cat was coughing up the furballs basically is where he got the idea for the voice and some of Gollum's movements. That's a weird fact, but that's a fact that you may not have known, and now you do. So, well done, I suppose. So, let's have a look at this anyway, to what he's saying, because it's interesting, and of course we're hearing a lot of talk of the original cast, of the original cast, very much saying they would be very open to returning. So anyway, Andy Serkis will be returning to Middle-earth sooner than fans were expecting. Lord of the Rings, The Hunt for Gollum is the next live-action entry in the Lord of the Rings cinematic franchise. Rumours and casting updates have flooded the internet over the past few months, but very little about the project has been set in stone. Serkis, who directs the movie, as well as returning to voice and provide motion capture for the titular Gollum, has finally given fans the update they've been waiting for. Andy Serkis recently sat down with Collider to promote the eagerly anticipated animated adaptation of George Orwell's Animal Farm at the Annecy Animated Festival in France. By the way, apparently there is a trailer for that, and apparently people are going, it just looks bat crap crazy. Literally, people were like, we have no idea what we've just watched. So it continues saying, during the conversation, Serkis addresses the status of the hunt for Gollum and revealed that he and the crew would be journeying back to Middle-earth in less than 12 months, saying, we're very early on in the process. We've been talking about the film over the course of the last year. We're about to start a period of prep in the next few months or so. We'll be shooting in the early to mid part of next year. So it looks like an early to mid, so I would assume January, February upwards to probably in and around March, April, May for the beginning of the shoot for this thing. I'm assuming as well that it will be in New Zealand. I don't know if that's addressed in this, we'll find out. So Andy Serkis didn't reveal how long the production would take, as it is likely too early to give such an estimate yet, but the film already has a release date, and Andy Serkis said, and then it'll be as long as it takes to shoot, which it's a sizable movie already for a December 2027 release, he said. So there's your date, December of 2027. No exact date, so it's not like we're hearing the 15th of December or something. It will be interesting though, because it will probably have to go up against one of the Avatar movies. 2027, which Avatar movie will that be? That'll be 5, won't it? Yeah, it'll be 5. I'm pretty sure he shot 5 already. So the official synopsis for The Hunt of Gollum also hasn't been confirmed, as again, it's too early for something so important to be finalised, but rumours have circulated over the past months that the film will be set right before The Fellowship of the Rings, and it will star Aragorn, Viggo Mortensen, and Gandalf, Ian McKellen, as they attempt to track down Gollum. However, this has not been officially confirmed, and yet the two of them have very much said they are very much open to returning, as has Orlando Bloom. He has come out and said he is very much wanting to be a part of this. There would have to be a fair bit of de-aging, I think. Ian McKellen, of course, you can't hide him with the beard, but he has said quite recently they better hurry up, because he's kind of, let's put it this way, he has more yesterdays than he has tomorrows. So This says, anyway, Andy Serkis didn't reveal any plot details during the conversation, but the director/actor did tease what fans can expect from the tone and feeling of The Hunt for Gollum in comparison to Peter Jackson's beloved original trilogy and the Hobbit trilogy, unfortunately, saying, "I'm incredibly excited to go back and work with my friends and family in New Zealand," so there you go, they are filming in New Zealand, "and actually do something which is, I think, going to be surprising and yet very much part of the lore and the feel of the trilogy." He also said, "The sensibility of it will feel, I think, close to that, and yet we're investigating in greater depth the character formerly known as Sméagol, but mostly known as Gollum." So he is talking very much about it being very close to the tone, the look, the feel of the original trilogy, which that's exactly what you want. Real question is though, do people really want the film focusing on Gollum? Because it's kind of like he was a big part of the three stories basically, but we basically saw his past. You know, we saw what corrupted Sméagol. We saw him putting the ring on, and that's what changed him and made him into Gollum basically, and that's what broke him. So it's kind of like, do we really need to see that? It depends what they add to the lore, and the thing they need to try and avoid doing is trying to replicate Tolkien's work. And what I mean by that, because we all want Lord of the Rings to be very Tolkienish, what I mean by, don't do what basically they're doing over with Rings of Power, which is this idea of, oh, we're going to tell the story that Tolkien never did because he couldn't come up with the idea. You know what I mean? It's like, we can do it better than he could have done. That's why he didn't write it. Don't go in with that mindset. Go in with understanding what the character is. Take elements that you used from the original trilogy and the books and use that. That's the best way to do it and structure it. And I think that's how it could work. I still don't quite know whether or not fans are completely on board for what's essentially a prequel for The Fellowship of the Rings and beyond. But I think fans would be more excited for something that looks, feels, and is more of the actual Lord of the Rings and actual Tolkien than something like Rings of Power. But only time will tell, but it looks like they're gearing up to start this quite soon, or at least getting things in place to do it. You know, they'll probably go to New Zealand, get sets ready, stuff like that. And it's great as well that they are going back to New Zealand. That is, it's basically the home for the world in live action for the Lord of the Rings. So yeah, it's good that they're going back there to do that. So we'll wait and see what else comes out and start seeing if any casting news starts to come along. Again, everyone seems to be pretty much up for returning, so we'll see what happens. And with that, I shall leave it there for this one. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Cheers, and I will catch you in the next one.
Precious!